Well, welcome to the show.
This is our view from the bench.
Well, welcome to the show. I'm Brendan, icicle on Andy Reid's mustache.
And I'm Corey, snow shoveler at Highmark Stadium. And happy Monday, happy MLK Day, man. We made it through the weekend.
Yes, happy Monday. We made it through the weekend is not the very most fun thing for me to hear because I enjoy weekends. You, however, obviously work like crazy on the weekend, so that is definitely something for you. So we have opposites on that one. But yes, made it through. Happy Martin Luther King Day. Somewhat of a day off for me. I work in finance and banking, so banks were closed and stuff like that, but still got to work a little bit today. Not too much. How was that weekend of yours, man?
Well, Saturday was a long day working the concert. But other than that, I did nothing but sleep most of the day yesterday because I didn't get off till 3 a.m. on Saturday night / Sunday morning.
Ouch.
Took a little longer to get everything boxed up and counted as unusually. The rep I had to deal with was a little less organized than I was at the end there. So it just kind of dragged on, but made our money. We were all good. Got everybody out of the building, and I was able to sleep most of yesterday and had the holiday off today, unlike you. So able to catch up on my sleep, and I feel pretty damn good going into this week. How about you?
Not okay. That's good to hear. Yeah, luckily it was a slow day at work from home as well, so got to kind of chill. Just finished up making some dinner, and excited to get going here. Weekend was pretty uneventful. Oh no, Saturday I went to the baby shower for my wife's cousin in Huntington Beach. We were just down the street from your house, but it was great,
home.
man. Beautiful weather. Yeah, right, exactly. Beautiful weather out there, and just a really nice time. Lots of families, friends, and stuff. So it was really cool, really cool. But excited to jump into definitely excited to jump into sports today. Obviously, we're in the middle of a game. We still have one going on right now. But before we get started with anything, if you're not already, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss a new episode that we upload. And what are they supposed to do again if they like what they're watching, man?
Gotta smash that like button if you like what you see.
Smash it, man. Smash it. We appreciate anything that you got there. So thank you for joining us. Let's kind of jump in. Quick update on the game as of right now. The Bucks just scored another touchdown. They're up, I think it's 25 or 26-9. Man, the Eagles look pretty terrible. I don't want to get too much into the game because we might have more to talk about in a second, but it's not looking great. Let's start though with the other game that we had today. Steelers visiting Buffalo in where you were obviously shoveling some snow. Were you one of those people shoveling snow, or were you just playing in the snow?
Probably more so playing. I mean, I was not one of those people in the tube sliding down with all the snow that I saw in videos.
No?
What the hell those people were thinking.
They were working, man. They were working. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like I had no shirt on in the one video I saw. Those people are nuts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they are nuts. 100%. So. Yeah, exactly. Did you see the video of jumping on a table with it was on fire and stuff?
Yeah,
oh my gosh, bro.
I mean, I guess it's cold enough outside. A little bit of fire is good, but you don't even be jumping into it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's nothing else to do over there, so why not? But what did you see? Did you get to check out? I didn't really watch much of the game. It was on early. I was out. I was walking my dogs and getting dinner ready, like I said. So I didn't get to really watch actually any of it. Did you?
A little bit weird having a 1:30 game on a Monday. I know it got postponed because of the weather from yesterday, but it's still weird to see a 1:30 game on a Monday afternoon. Thankfully, as a holiday, I guess it kind of worked out for them in that sense for the NFL. But Bills came out early. I mean, they were up 21-0. I think about halfway through the second quarter. I figured that kind of was over and done with. But like every other team that Mike Tomlin has to coach, they tend to not give up and they fight back. They did get it within a touchdown late in the third. And then, of course, Josh Allen them got another touchdown, put it out of reach in the fourth quarter. And at that point, it was just, ticking out the clock. And I have to say, normally you call Josh Allen Jay Cutler. I said it last week in the last episode because you've said it so many times.
Yeah.
But today
he looked good, though.
Yeah, he looked good today, played well. I think the biggest thing is, as we talked about going into this game, without TJ Watt, the Steelers are just not the same defense. And without being able to put any pressure on Josh Allen, he was able to have a day. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns, I think, and I think he even ran one in. So, yeah, another good day for Allen and the Bills, and they'll get to host another game next week at Highmark.
Yeah. Are you gonna be still over there shoveling for them, or is the blizzard past now? Do you know?
I don't know. We'll see if they offer $20 an hour again. Maybe I'll think about it.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. I don't know. I'm kind of annoyed. I really wonder what. Fuck the Bills. First of all, I really wonder what this would have looked like with TJ. To be honest, because like you
Yeah.
said, pulling him within one score in the late in the third is not necessarily what a lot of people were thinking were going to happen. Now, granted, Bill still covered the spread of I think it was 10.5, so that one happened. But I don't know. I really would like to see maybe if they had a full complete team, and maybe if they had somebody. And this is not a shot at Mason Rudolph, but if they had a better quarterback at the helm, and it's not, in my opinion, it's not Kenny Pickett. I'm just saying, like, just in general, if they had another person on their roster, I think Mason Rudolph is the best of the people that they have. And I mean, I know they had to roll with him due to injury, but I don't know. It was kind of close. The only thing that I was kind of like is that the whole game, I felt like I saw snowballs getting thrown on the field. Now, granted, we don't know if that's Bills players or not, but there's a bunch of them, or Bill players, fans. There's a bunch, and to me, I don't know. They're one of the most classless fans out there. That just seem like so. I don't know. I know up there with Philly. To be honest with you, Philly obviously is doesn't know how to win, doesn't know how to lose. They're just sorry all the time. They just feel angry. The only thing they do to save face the mafia is they do like random donations to organizations when other players help them like
Yep.
win or help them, help clear an opponent.
The
I don't know. That's
Andy
that's how they try
Dalton
to
Red
save
Rocky
face.
one comes to mind off the bat when the Bengals kind of helped them get into the playoffs a few years back.
Exactly, things like that. That's the only thing that makes them look nice. But honestly, they're just kind of fucking classless, to be honest, in my opinion. But
That's crazy.
um, yeah, yeah, I'm definitely rooting for the Chiefs hard as heck. Obviously, I'm a huge dynasty fan, and we'll get into these games soon. But that's the matchup that we got coming up. So go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs. I'm with you there on that one. But like you said, we'll get more into previewing all the matchups once we have the final matchup here, although looking like Tampa might be going to Detroit. But we'll do more of those on Thursday when we record our next episode and kind of give our picks and see who we're going to be seeing next.
Yeah, yeah. Let's break down what we just saw from this crazy super wild card weekend. We were wrong in a handful of them, we're right in some of them as well.
Yikes.
The one that was the biggest crazy to me, which is not crazy that they won the game, but how big they won it. That's I'm not talking about the Packers yet. Is the Browns losing to the Texans 45-14. It was CJ's game. They look great. So happy this is a result. I love CJ Stroud, so I'm rooting for him to go as far as possible. He carved up this top ranked Browns defense and kind of made it look really easy. He was setting game records like in the first half, right? He was the first rookie quarterback to throw for 3 touchdowns in the first half. No other Texans quarterback ever has thrown for 3 touchdowns in a playoff game, and he did it in the first half. I know I didn't pick them. I thought the Browns were going to be able to show up, but the more and more I thought about it and saw Colin was talking about it today, Browns defense at home is what really kind of set them up to be the number one or top three defense in the league, but not on the road. Apparently, they were kind of getting lit up on the road, and that's something I didn't really pick out. So happy for him. Love CJ and super happy. Again, kind of a Jesus fan and as well as myself. So happy that he uses his platform to promote that. And I'm just kind of rooting for him. Again, Rancho Cucamonga. I
Yep.
love the local connection. So did you get to see any of it? I didn't really actually watch the game. Again, that was at the baby shower. It was on, but I was just trying to like enjoy the fam kind of thing. So did you see? Oh no,
No, I
you were
was
working, huh?
I was getting all the prep stuff for the concert going. Next thing I look up at halftime, it's 24-14. I was like, oh wow, Texans are okay. They have a chance to win this game because I still kind of figured, okay, at a second half, maybe Cleveland makes some adjustments and comes out. But next thing I know, once we were set up at the stands, we had it on in the store, and I look up and there's another interception and then a pick six, and I was just like, what is happening to the Browns? And I know they talked about how Flacco and them have been kind of turnover prone, but I didn't expect them to do that against the Texans. Now, we did talk about last week when we were previewing this game that they did play each other not too long ago on Christmas Eve. That was without CJ Stroud at quarterback. It was Case Keenum.
Mm-hmm.
But even
Obviously,
then,
a
like,
difference.
yeah, but having tape on somebody you recently played like that and being able to make adjustments again at a home game for the Texans on top of that definitely helped. I mean, that was how the Giants beat the Patriots back in that undefeated year. They played them that last week of the season, even though they lost, but they got an idea of what they could do and what could maybe slow the Patriots down, and they used that to their advantage. 5-6 weeks later in the Super Bowl, this is kind of the same instance.
Yeah.
D'Amico Ryan's, I mean, just proving that he's a great coach and got their defense ready. I thought that being so young on that squad that they might not be ready for the moment, but I think the week before having to do that play, win an in game against Indy on the road and the way they were able to go in there and take care of business, obviously they gave them some momentum, some, just know that they can do it and show up for the big games. And like you said, CJ Stroud, man, just perfect passer rating, 3 touchdowns. I mean, just they did everything right. The defense showed up. And unfortunately, they don't get to host another one for the next round because it would be fun to see Houston get another home game. But
Oof, yeah.
it is going to be fun to watch them move on and now really get tested and having to go to Baltimore next week.
Yeah, that Colts game that you speak about was definitely like playoff atmosphere. So, kind of got them into the mode of, win or go home, because that's really what it was in Week 18 for them. And that's obviously what the playoffs are. This isn't basketball. This isn't baseball. There's no series. You get one game, and whoever wins gets to move on. Whoever doesn't, sorry, you're out.
Any given
And yeah,
Sunday.
they look. Yeah, exactly. Or Saturday.
Oh, yeah, true. That's 2 weeks
They
in a
did.
row
They look.
actually for them on a Saturday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, Saturday's his game. Well, I mean, he was at Ohio State doing work there on Saturdays, so he knows how to play on Saturdays, I guess. Quite used to it, especially as a rookie. He like just finished playing on Saturdays, so
Yeah, for real.
um, super excited for him. I'm I'm rooting for basically anybody in the AFC besides Buffalo to win, or the Lions. So I don't know how I feel about them going to Baltimore. Again, we'll talk about that. I don't know who I'd be rooting for in the game. CJ is kind of who I'm rooting for. But that Ravens team is tough, and I would like to see them take out any of the other competition that I don't really like. So we'll see. We'll see how that kind of pans out. But there was 2 games on Saturday, actually. The second one I caught a little bit of when I got home from the baby shower. 26-7 in the negative 26-degree weather in Kansas City. Chiefs take care of business. Mahomes and company win their only home playoff game so far this season, unless obviously something crazy happens if they're able to pull off in Buffalo, and if Texas is able to, or the Texans are able to do something in Baltimore. But other than that, they're most likely not hosting anything for the rest of the postseason. But that was a pretty good game too. I know that was, you got off at 3 a.m., so obviously you didn't catch any of that. Did you see any highlights or anything?
Well, say not only that, I figured when the game would start at 5, since the doors for the arena and stuff didn't open until 6, we'd get to see a little bit of it on TV. But then I realized it's on
Oh yeah,
Peacock and not on NBC4, so that ruined my entire thought process of watching any of
true.
it. But going on to Twitter later and seeing, I mean, the biggest highlight was Patrick Mahomes' helmet just cracking and
Woof.
falling apart, which had a big part to do with just the fact that the weather was so cold and frigid and getting hit in the right spot. But yeah, the Dolphins, we talked about their injury report was up the wazoo, man. Just everybody, even Mozart played. He didn't play very well. I think they had like 76 yards as a team rushing. Tua, again, haven't really played in a lot of outdoor weather. I mean, a couple times in Buffalo or New England in a regular season, but a postseason game going to Kansas City, which is not easy in general. He had, 199, a touchdown and a pick, but their offense just looked overmatched. The Chief defense has been so good this year. And I know
Yeah.
there's clips of Tyreek Hill getting pushed down, I think, at the line by Snead, and even Tyreek, I think, tweeted about today. He sent me home to Mexico, or for the
Yeah,
offseason.
got to
Like,
Cancun. Yep.
yeah, you can't argue with what they did. They're really good. And I
Nope.
know one person that also had an idea of how good this defense can be, and if it could take them to the Super Bowl, we got to show that clip of Chris Rose.
Oh yeah, when he's talking to Maurice Jones-Drew.
Heck yeah, it's hilarious.
Okay.
Jones Drew's reaction is the best part.
Yeah, but hey, he quickly tried to cover up for TV, save it, and they were able to kind of move on. Let's check this out.
This is far and away the best defense that Patrick Mahomes has had, right? I mean, is it possible that they could ride the D?
I mean, the look on his face is like so priceless. He kind of quickly looks at him to correct it, and he does real quickly. He's like, okay, now we can talk about this again.
A quick pause too of him just like looking at him with the side eye, like, what are you? Oh, okay, we'll continue on the conversation. But yeah,
now
Chris
that you
Rose,
said
man,
defense,
has been around for so long. He's hilarious. I always used to love him when he was on MLB Network doing the stuff with, was the guy who used to play for the Red Sox, Kevin Millar. They used to do that MLB show and talk, and I just love Rose. But the fact that he, I don't know if that was on purpose or was just in the moment, because when we're talking about defense and stuff, a lot of the times as just people who watch it, we just say D because we all know what we're talking about. But the fact that Jones Drew just gave him that side eye was awesome.
Well, it's different if you say, do you think they can rely on the D, as opposed to, do you think that they can ride the D? That's a little bit of a different phrase, you know what I mean?
That's a good
So, but yeah, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. My take on the game really is, I don't know. I kind of saw this coming. We kind of talked about it. Dolphins defense, in my opinion, really did their job, limiting the Chiefs to 4 field goals in 4 red zone attempts. I mean, they scored a couple touchdowns, but if they were able to keep hold, I don't know. It was just too much when the offense for Miami. I mean, they couldn't do anything.
No.
91 total offensive snaps for the Chiefs compared to 76 for the Dolphins, but 28 of those 76 came when the game was a little bit out of hand and they were trying to make a push at the end there. I don't know. The defense was just gassed. They did their best, especially obviously missing key pieces like Xavier Howard and Bradley Chubb, like we talked about. But I don't know. It is what it is. I love Tua. I love the Hawaiian connection kind of there. But it's time for the Dolphins to draft his replacement 100%. He has 1 year left on his contract. He'll get paid $24 or $26 million next year. Draft his replacement this year. There's plenty of people. Move up. I don't know. Figure something out. I know you've traded away a lot of first round picks to get people like Tyreek Hill and Bradley Chubb and things like that. But you also got some. Yeah, Jalen Ramsey, but you also got some picks too. That's how you were able to pick up the Jalen Waddles and all that kind of thing. So I think it's time for him to draft. Let him play out this last year again, but they need. I don't know. He wasn't good, and I don't think he will be. He needs to have the perfect conditions. They need to be playing a defense that's only really good at stopping the run, so he can try to pick them apart. Draft a quarterback, Miami. It is time to move on. I am sorry, Tua, but I don't see it. I don't see it at all.
Yep.
There's another quarterback who is really feeling it today because they got blown the fuck out. Cowboys got it taken to them in the Big D. Speaking of D, by the Packers, dude. Jordan Love is. I don't know. I'm not a Packers fan, but damn, they could draft quarterbacks and develop them so well. I don't even know what the heck to do. Cowboys Packers. It was over early. I didn't even really get to.
Early.
I didn't get to watch much of it because it was over so fast. Did you see any? Because you said you were off, right?
Yeah, that was the only game I saw from beginning to end, man. I don't like that first drive. They just methodically, I think it took almost half the first quarter. They just, run here, pass here, run here, pass. They score. Jones is on the sideline with his glasses. And I was like, I don't know. I just got a bad feeling about this for the Cowboys. Like right after that first drive, and then the Cowboys go out and do nothing. The Packers get it back and go back and get another 14-0 before you can even think about it. And I mean, you could see you could see the tense. It was almost okay. It kind of reminds me of when the Dodgers are in the playoffs. Their fans, if they get down early, it gets really quiet in that stadium. Everyone gets really tense and like, oh no, here we go again. And then next thing you know, it was 27-0 after the pick six before halftime. Now the Cowboys were lucky they got that touchdown at the end of the first half to make it 27-7.
Yeah,
which everyone was like, oh, that was what the Chargers were up on the Jags, and then they ended up losing that game. But I'm thinking the Packers are not the Chargers.
The Chargers are a little different. Yeah.
So
exactly.
yeah, they just I don't know, man. They look good. Jordan Love, just everything he did looked good. I know he had a perfect pass rating until they brought him in at the end just to make sure they could try to run out some more clock, and he had an incomplete pass. But otherwise, and the scoreboard right now at the end looks 48-32, and Dak had some good points and yards at the end, but it was all garbage. I mean, the Packers took out half of their starting defense and put them out there, and we're playing all soft coverage, letting them catch everything and run, so they just keep the clock ticking. So it wasn't really ever close. I mean, a lot of the Cowboy fans were leaving at the end of the third when they were down, 48-16, I think, at that point.
Yeah, 48-16. I saw the line out when they panned out to outside the stadium. There's a line of cars leaving already. That's
so sad. I mean, I don't feel bad for them, but dang, that sucks. Like, the funniest part was after they scored the third touchdown, they show, they pan the camera up to Jerry, and Jerry's like all pissed off. He's turned around. Everyone's like, oh, he's probably telling him to call Bill Belichick on the phone now. Like, don't even wait till halftime. I mean, just two rookie quarterbacks. Well, I guess Jordan Love's not technically a rookie. He's been on the bench for a while, but his first season
playoff
as a starting quarterback, him and CJ both played lights out this weekend. And I don't know, man, the Cowboys, man, I don't know. I don't know what to even say about them anymore. Every year it's one and done, or last year they won one game and then got destroyed by the Niners. They just comes time to, it's kind of like the Clippers in the playoffs. They kind of fold and don't have any answers. And especially too, like the defense is supposed to be their best thing this year, right? Or at least one of the top defenses in the league.
Top 5.
And they're down 27-0 before you can even blink. And it's like, well, if they can't stop anybody, now one of those touchdowns again was a pick six, but still, if you can't stop anybody, no matter how good Dak does, if you're down 27-0, I mean, CeeDee Lamb and him looked off from the get-go. Every throw was either in CeeDee Lamb's hands that he dropped, or it was completely not in the right spot at the right time. They looked off from the get-go. And like I said, after that first touchdown, I don't know. I felt something about Green Bay looking and feeling good. And I guess when you're got no expectations as a 7 seed, you just go out there and you do your thing and hope for the best.
First 7th seed to win. Granted, the format's only been around for about 3-4 years, but first 7th seed to win a playoff game. They've
Yeah,
never
I
beat a
know that.
2 before. So, while I'm not surprised the Packers won, I'm very surprised that they won like this. Right?
Yeah.
It was an absolute disaster in Dallas. I don't know what they do going forward, but in my opinion, the coach should be the first to go. To me, this was less about the players. I mean, it was about their execution and effort, especially Dax at the beginning of the game. But this was more, in my opinion, about Matt LaFleur owning Mike McCarthy.
Absolutely.
Um, he had a master plan for exactly how to take apart this team, and the Cowboys had no answer. There was no adjustments or anything like that. I think Mike McCarthy. The more I think about it, Mike McCarthy's kind of just a name. He just happened to be attached to Aaron Rodgers. Like think about this, right? Having Aaron Rodgers for all those years in Aaron Rodgers' prime. Matt LaFleur didn't even get him in Aaron Rodgers' prime. Matt LaFleur got Aaron Rodgers at the end of his prime, right? So you have him in his prime. They've always had good rosters. Defense with like who's the guy? AJ Hawk, was that Hawk was there?
Yep. AJ Hawk.
Or yeah, so
Clay
they, I mean they've
Matthews.
had Clay Matthews. They've had a good defense. They've had great O line all the time. They've had good running backs. They've got receivers, not, especially with Devontae Adams. And they won. They went to one Super Bowl and won it. That was it. That's all they did. I think Mike McCarthy might be a little overrated. I'm not saying he's the worst coach ever, but letting Kellen Moore go and I'm gonna call the play. Well, what did you call, bro? Because it was trash. Not only was your play calling trash, Dan Quinn, top 5 defense,
That's where I was gonna go.
seven possessions. The first 7 possessions for the Packers, 6 touchdowns. That
Jeez.
is not the top 5 defense that you got to see all year. And where were the adjustments, man? This guy's supposed to be a head coaching candidate for somewhere else. I would be hesitant to bring this guy into and have my fan base. Can you imagine him like Seattle, right? They're looking for somebody. They're a defensive minded organization, right? Can you imagine the Seattle fans saying, I just, no, thank you. I literally just saw them get picked apart by the 7th seeded rookie quarterback Packers. I don't necessarily want that on my team at all.
No.
This is all. I would put most of it on the coach. I'd say 60+% on McCarthy / Dan Quinn, 30% on Dak, and 10% on the rest of the guys. Micah Parsons, right? Well, my defensive player of the year candidate, right? That was the guy who I picked. 1 quarterback pressure on 19 pass rushes. It's the lowest percentage
Hey,
of his entire career.
but he did get 2 holding calls for him. Like he's been bitching and complaining on Twitter the last couple weeks. He never gets any calls against him for holding because guys are pulling him, and they got 2 of them in the first half. So he did get something that he wanted. But yeah, no, I'm with you, man. Quinn should. I think the only reason he'll get a benefit of the doubt if he goes to Seattle is he used to be their D coordinator back when they won the Super Bowl. So the fans might be a little more like,
Well,
we
then
lost Pete
recruit him for
Carroll, but at least
defensive
we get,
coordinator.
yeah, at least we get somebody from that era. But I did read today that the Titans are one of the teams I want to talk to him. I definitely don't want him coming to
Oof.
Tennessee. Please go somewhere
No.
else. He's also famous for, being the
28 to
Falcons
3,
coach.
baby.
28-3, they lose the Super Bowl to the Patriots. So I don't know what to expect out of them at this point. Yeah, I'm with you. If I'm the Cowboys, I'm cleaning house, coaching staff for sure. And then they got to figure out what they're going to do with Dak. I think he's due like $60 million next year. It's the
They
last
need
year
to
of his
restructure
deal.
that.
Yeah, he's going to want a new contract, so they'll have to. But eventually, you're going to have to pay everybody, and you're not going to be able to afford to have any weapons for him. So I don't know. I don't know what they do, and the fact that they won the division and were the 2 seed, they're going to be too high in the draft to probably get a quarterback unless they trade up. But also, if you think about it, Jerry Jones has been very patient when it comes to this because how many times did we think Jason Garrett should have been fired? At least 3-4
A lot.
years in a row, and he kept we'll be fine. He's coming back. But after yesterday's debacle in, his own stadium too, in Jerry World, I got to think he's got to be thinking about moving on.
This is a terrible loss, dude. This is a terrible loss. I know that hasn't been announced. If it was me, which again, he's a smart businessman, so he's taking his time with the decision. I would have got his ass out first thing Monday morning.
Oh,
So I don't know. I think he should go. And I'm not normally one to call for firing people. I don't really care that much. But this was really bad. It was embarrassing. My stepdad's a Cowboys fan. When I called
oh
them last night, I was just like, "So did you guys turn the game off pretty early?"
no.
And yeah, it was not fun for boys fans yesterday. But every year's their year, so don't worry. Next year, bro. Next year.
That's what they always say, right? Our year this year, and then something always tends to happen and doesn't work out the way they want.
It's been basically 60 years since the Lions have won 2 playoff games. They won one 30-something years ago, but before that, it was another 30-something years. but they were able to pull it off this week, man. Hosting the Rams. It was the closest game of the weekend. We kind of figured that it'd be close. I did think the Rams might be able to edge them out, but the Lions, man, came to play. Granted, they only scored 3 points. That's that Sean McVay, and see, that's a good coach. They put up 21 in the first half, and they're only able to score 3. Now, granted, the offense wasn't able to catch up. The Lions defense was able to hold them, but that is what a good coach does. Make adjustments and only allowing 3 points in the second half. That's exactly what they do. Happy for the Lions. I'm happy for Eminem. I'm happy for Ninja, the streamer. I think he was there.
Big Sean.
Again, yeah, the Rams put up a fight, especially having one of the youngest teams in the league, like we've talked about before. I think they made a great run, Puka, but Kyron Williams really didn't do much. So even after the game, dude, it's so funny because we were watching. We were online last night, kind of talking and hanging out a little bit. And as I was watching the game, kind of had it on the background, dude. Nobody left, bro. They were just like enjoying the moment of finally like winning something.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. After Michigan was able to get
I
the
was
national
just gonna
championship.
say,
Lions are rolling right now. The only thing that sucks is obviously the worst team in the league, the Pistons. Although they were able to beat the Wizards either today or yesterday, so that was kind of cool.
battle of the worst
But
teams.
yeah, exactly. But I'm in. Go Lions.
Yeah.
Jared Goff is the first quarterback to win a playoff game against a team he previously started a playoff game for. But that was interesting.
Okay. Yeah. Well, like you said, Lions came to play.
Did you see any of it? Because I know it was on. You were off yesterday.
I was in bed while kind of off and on falling asleep during this game. But early on, the Lions just, like you said, came to play, had scored 3 touchdowns on their first drives, and looked like they were just going to be humming the rest of the night. But you mentioned Sean McVay and them that halftime. They made some adjustments. They slowed them down. I don't think they had a drive more than like 50 or 60 yards in the second half. Held them to that one field goal, which ultimately became the difference. Yeah. I know the biggest question mark right now with the Rams is that McVay kind of questioning if they should have punted there at the end of the game instead of going for it on 4th down because they were kind of out of field goal range. And with Maher there, I don't know if you even trust him because even the field goals he did make were not, right down the middle or anything.
Decisive.
So there's still kind of that, I don't know if we trust him or not yet. So, but at that point, I feel like they should have just gone for it on 4th down because if you don't get it, you're going to give them the ball regardless. And punting them down to the 20 or being at the 40 where they were when they had the ball, at that point, I feel like if you trust your defense enough, you should have been able to go for it on 4th down and then seeing what happened. But, they also only had the one timeout left, I think, after they gave the ball back to the Lions, which is one of those, you called timeout in the 3rd quarter on a 3rd and 10 to avoid going to a 3rd and 15, but 3rd and 15, 3rd and 10 when you're late in the game. I don't know what the difference is. McVay's had a couple moments like that over the last year or so where the time management or the timeouts thing has kind of come back to bite him, but I'm with you, man. I mean, Stafford played well. Puka did great.
Yeah, dude.
Kyron Williams did okay, but then he kind of got messed up on his hand, so he didn't play much of the 4th quarter, or at least a lot of it. The other question, though, if you're the Rams, is is Cooper Kupp ever going to be the same? I feel like this whole year since he got back with that hamstring thing when he went to see a specialist, he hasn't been playing as well. He didn't really have much effect on the game yesterday, so that's
all Puka.
That's going to be the biggest question mark going in the offseason. They have $40 million in cap space. I think that's their first round pick they're going to be able to make of their own since they drafted Goff back in 2016, I think it was. So there's a lot of positivity and things to look forward to. I know McVay said that this team kind of reinvigorated him as far as coaching football, and Aaron Donald's kind of said the same thing in his post-game press conference that he'll be ready to go back next year. So there's no retirement kind of hanging over them. So it'll be interesting to see what the Rams can do in the offseason with some cap space and a draft pick in the first round and 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round. They still found Puka and a couple other guys.
And Kyron both in the 5th.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, but the Rams have some positivity, but it's all about the Lions. Goff gets his revenge. He goes into the locker room and they're all chanting his name and they're, just excited. He did give the best responses, though. It's not about me and against the Rams, even though there's a connection there, but it's about us as a team. And we came out and we did our job today and we won. And now they get to host another playoff game, 2 in 1 year. What the heck is going on?
Right? They haven't had one at Ford Stadium since it opened, and now they finally get 2 in a row, man. That's honestly good for them, dude. They got a lot of guys who people, would count out. David Montgomery was bailed on by the Bears. Aiden Hutchinson was drafted, obviously, there. But, coming from Michigan, so he's a hometown dude. He just grew up there. Obviously, the whole Goff story and everything like that. Amon-Ra with his Pro Bowl snub and, him being a smaller receiver, all the kind of stuff. So I don't know. I'm kind of rooting for him. I'm assuming they're going to be playing the Bucks. Checking in on that game right now. It is, I believe, still 25-9. About 10 minutes left. not looking great for the Eagles. So I'm assuming the Bucs are heading to Detroit. But yeah, I think it's gonna be good. Happy for the Rams, or happy for the Rams, happy for the Lions, to be honest with you. Not necessarily happy for the Rams, but to your point, I think Rams are gonna be dangerous this upcoming season with all that cap space, but they never have a first round pick when they're able to find gems in the fifth. Sheet, the talent that's in the first round is no joke. So Stafford coming back, dude. Stafford is probably, if not the one of the most underrated quarterbacks of all time, because because he sat in Detroit for so long, I feel like he wasn't really able to kind of show what he could do. Although, like we've talked about a handful of times, the most receiving yards in a season, the Triple Crown winner, and the most receptions and yards for a rookie all came from Matt Stafford's arm. So,
in 3
but
different seasons too. Not on top of that. Calvin
oh
was
yeah,
a long time ago. Puka this year. Cooper like 2 years ago, 3 years ago when they
yep,
won
3
the
years
Super
ago.
Bowl. So it's not like it's just been one team 1 year where all of it kind of clicks. It's been multiple teams on that too, the Lions and the Rams. And now that he's got that Super Bowl with the Rams and continuing to pile up the stats, he might end up being a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done now.
Yeah, if he gets one more, that would probably solidify it. But even the one might be good enough. I mean, there's plenty of quarterbacks around the flame that have 0. So
I mean, Joe Namath's in the Super Bowl or the Hall of Fame, and I think if you look at his career stats, he has more interceptions than touchdowns, but he's more known for the guaranteed win in the Super Bowl back in Super Bowl
like 3.
Yeah, I'll say really early on.
Yeah, something like that. The one thing that I liked, I saw that Matt Stafford's kids had some jacket that says "Born in Detroit, Raised in L.A." I thought that was kind of cool. Kind of
Nice.
see the little jackets and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean that was pretty much most of the wild card. Again, we got just this last Bucks game that's about to finish up. I do think that the Bucks will kind of take that one. So yeah, we'll see. We basically kind of have the division matchups set. Do you want to kind of take us through them?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. Next weekend, we got 2 games on Saturday, 2 games on Sunday. We're down to 8 teams at this point, which I don't know. It seems like the NFL goes from just so many games to just so little games so quickly. It's crazy how that happens. But first off, we have the Ravens hosting the Texans on Saturday. That'll be the afternoon game for us here on the West Coast at 1:30. And then you also have the Niners hosting the Packers on Saturday night at 5:15, which is going to be great. That's a rematch of an NFC title game. What year was that when the Niners lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? I can't remember, but I was there for that NFC title game when Aaron Rodgers and them got spanked by the Niners. So I hope that's not the case this time with a young quarterback there, but we'll see what can happen. And then on Sunday, we get the Bills hosting the Chiefs, which, last time they played each other in the playoffs was that crazy. Bills thought they were going to win. Chiefs come back late
13
in the fourth quarter,
seconds.
and then they go into overtime, and the Chiefs somehow come out of it and go to the Super Bowl. So that'll be fun. And now we get to see the Lions, like we talked about, host a second NFC playoff game, which is more than likely going to be Tampa Bay at this point, unless something crazy happens on this TV behind me.
I don't see it happening. Don't see that happening either, man.
No, absolutely. So it's it's going to be fun. I'm excited that I'm more for the weird stuff at this point, like Texans, Lions. I don't care. My Titans aren't in it, so let's make it weird.
Yeah, the only person that I'm actually rooting for that most people probably aren't is the Chiefs. Again, I'm a dynasty fan. I like Patrick Mahomes. I don't necessarily like a handful of people that are connected to him. I don't really like all this Taylor Swift hype at all either. But I don't know. I'm kind of rooting for Andy Reid. I've always liked Andy. He's always had a hard time in Philly. He got so close so much, and he was finally able to kind of obviously break over the hump here in Kansas City. So it should be exciting. We're definitely going to be giving our picks and predictions for the Thursday episode. So make sure you tune into that one to kind of see who we're picking. We didn't do that great of a job this time. I think we went basically like 50%, kind of. But again, okay, in our defense, especially at least for this Bucks game, we didn't know that AJ Brown was for sure going to be out. I didn't know that Hurts was going to be so hurt he needed a glove that he decided not to use last second. And yeah, I didn't know that the Eagles didn't know what tackling is. I didn't know that. I was aware that they couldn't cover in any receivers, but I didn't know that they didn't know how to tackle. I had thought that was like a key part of their defensive plan. But actually, I was watching the game and they were talking about how they've shifted for defensive coordinators. There was somebody, I forgot his name, apologize to the gentleman, who was their defensive coordinator for the first part of the season. They didn't really like what he was doing after going 10-1 apparently, and so they decided to give the play calling to Matt Patricia, ex-Patriots defensive coordinator, and they've looked like shit ever since. So I don't get it. I don't know. Matt Patricia doesn't teach tackling again, apparently, so I don't know. It's super weird to watch. Not necessarily an Eagles fan. I'm sorry, Art. But I've been to this stadium rooting for the Bucks before. Granted, Tom Brady was at the helm, But yeah, it's kind of cool to see kind of switching up. Obviously, everybody counted the Bucks out. Even Vegas had them as underdogs at home. But yeah, I don't know. It was something
I
else,
mean,
man. So looking
who would
forward to
have
the next
thought
one.
when the season started we'd be saying the divisional round that Baker Mayfield versus Jared Goff in the divisional round for a chance to go to the NFC title game.
I would not have said that, not at all. Nor would I have had Jordan Love here either. I didn't say the Packers were going to be bad, but I didn't really see them making the playoffs. Obviously, they weren't in our picks, and they did. Obviously they barely squeaked in. Basically, they had to just win out in order to do so. But it was something else for sure. So make sure you tune in on Thursday to see where we go with and who we're picking for the divisional round matchups.
My Ravens Niners picks are still alive. That's all that matters. My
Yeah, no,
preseason
I don't know
kid
how
is
you
still.
did that, bro. Mine were not. You did
Oh, I
great. I
didn't tell
mean,
you I got the script before the season started.
oh, you freaking cheater, man. Dang it. It is scripted, bro. So scripted. Whatever. Anyways, the divisional playoffs are going to be exciting, but we have other football news. We'll start in the NFL. There's been a couple of coaching hires in football in general. We'll start with the New England Patriots. We talked about it, obviously, in our previous episode about Bill Belichick and them mutually parting ways, but it didn't take that long for them to kind of fill that gap, no?
Not at all. We recorded Thursday talking about, what are they going to do? Who are they going to bring in? Is Rabel going to leave Tennessee to go there because he got let go? And then
Right?
Friday morning, they announced Gerard Mayo, their former linebacker, who was a great player for them, won Defensive Rookie of the Year, Pro Bowl honors in 2010 and 2012, is now going to be their head coach after being their linebackers coach for the last few years.
I think it's pretty cool. You mentioned also that you saw something in on the news or in one of the sports talks. Maybe it was Mason Island because you listen to them a lot.
I do listen to them.
About the about the contract that he actually just recently signed, which none of us really knew about, but it's kind of the reason why he has this job, right?
Yeah, so apparently last year when his contract was up, they re-signed him as the linebackers coach, but they put a clause in there that is allowed by the NFL and was approved and everything that he would basically be the heir apparent to Belichick whenever that was the time for him to go. I just think it's weird that we went through this whole year and nobody knew that ahead of time. The way things get out these days and anonymous
True.
sources, it never came out. But
Anonymous.
yeah, here he is, and now it's now they got to hire a new GM too because Belichick was doing that job as well. There's a couple different
True.
names that have been kind of connected to them, but it'll be interesting to see what route they go and what they want to do to now the youngest coach in the NFL, how they want to help him build his future team.
Yeah, it sounds like he's like, wow, youngest coach. I mean, he's 1 month younger than Sean McVay, but Sean McVay has a Super Bowl under his belt. He's been to another one and lost to obviously this Patriots team. So yeah, it should be super interesting. One of those GMs that they're not going to do, which we kind of forgot to talk about, the Commanders just took Adam Peterson, who was John Lynch's right hand man over in San Francisco. And if anybody knows anything about football, San Francisco knows exactly what they're doing with their personnel. Now, granted, they whiffed on the Trey Lance pick, but a smart organization moves off of it quickly and just tries to kind of move on. And that's exactly what they did by trading him to the Cowboys. So they admit their mistakes when they're wrong, and they don't make them very often. And so that kind of Commanders obviously putting Bob Myers and the previous Vikings GM, they looked like they kind of got a great one right here. They were able to kind of convince him to come over, leave John Lynch, and see what he could kind of do on his own. So there's one of the GMs that's going to be out, but it should be super exciting. They really need to nail this draft though.
Yes.
Obviously, we talked about Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones. Not really, the answer obviously at quarterback. And if there's anything that in this league, that's pretty much the one position you need to make sure that you get down. I mean, there's some teams that can have maybe like the Browns were able to kind of do for a little bit with Joe Flacco, but obviously we see how that turned out in this playoff game, where they can have an okay quarterback with a great team around him. This Patriots team had an okay quarterback when what we thought was Mac Jones and did absolutely nothing with him. So
Yeah.
excited to see what Gerard Mayo kind of has in store. Obviously, he needs that QB, but I mean, what better day to talk about it? MLK Day. We talk about how not a lot of African American coaches get that opportunity. Whether that's true or not, I'm not saying that, but it's a storyline that's out there. So I'm hoping Gerard Mayo is able to kind of do something here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think part of it too is, he played there for Belichick, so he'll probably take more of what Belichick or the Patriots way and kind of revamp a little bit for the younger generation since he's
Hoping.
much younger. We talked about it too when Pete Carroll the other day was let go in Seattle. Part of the reason that I think that he's so good and has continued to make Seattle competitive, even though they haven't won since the Super Bowl, they won the one time, they are able to he brings a lot of younger guys and coaching staff around him to keep him invigorated, keep him, youthful in a sense and open to new ideas and things and ways to run things. I think Gerard Mayo is going to kind of be the same thing as far as this organization is concerned. They've been with Belichick and just doing it his way for 24 years. It's time to make a change. I did think one thing that was a little weird that they said that the two coaches that are the sons of Bill Belichick might stay on the staff, which I feel like if your dad leaves or gets let go and parts ways, it might be time for you to part ways as well. And if you're Gerard Mayo, you kind of want to have your own staff, maybe have one or two layovers. But I mean, it wasn't like they were very good on either side of the ball last year. So it's time to
defense okay.
Yeah, it's time to make a change and get some new blood in there. Maybe some D coordinators. I wouldn't be shocked if Brian Flores maybe came back to New England and was the D coordinator there. He has been a head coach himself, so it'd be nice to have a coach on your staff that has been a head coach somewhere else if you're Gerard Mayo as a rookie head coach and being so young as well. So that's one thing to think about if I'm New England. But you did mention the GMs that could possibly be in. Obviously, San Francisco guys off the list, but there is talk about the former Raiders GM David Ziegler, former Titans GM John Robinson, who actually used to work for the Patriots before he came to Tennessee. The Chiefs assistant GM, Mike, I hope I get this right, Borgonzi. And then there's executive for the Bengals, Trey Brown. So those are the first couple names that have been kind of tied in. But you got to think it's got to be somebody that Gerard's going to, one, trust and have a similar idea of how they want to build this roster moving forward, especially, like you said, that top pick they have this year, I think is number 3. They have to get a quarterback and build around him, get him some weapons. Who's the wide receiver they got from Kansas City that's there right now? I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Juju Smith-Schuster. So they have a wide receiver. They don't really have many other weapons on that team or that offense. I know they have Hunter Henry at tight end who is okay, average. But he's kind of on the back end, I would think, of his career at this point because most of his good years were in San Diego. I always call them San Diego Chargers for the Chargers in LA. So, I think that's a big part of moving forward for the Patriots is getting that GM and really building for the future and not just hoping that Gerard Mayo figures it out. You're going to have to start with getting him a quarterback and someone that can run an offense and see what they can do. And again, Mayo's being a former linebacker, then defense will be his specialty.
Yeah, they really got to nail this. I mean, you're not going to get Caleb Williams unless you draft the Bears just need to draft him. And this isn't really a shot at Justin Fields, to be honest with you, but the Bears need to just take Caleb Williams and see what they can do with it because he's arguably the best quarterback in the draft. I don't really like his attitude a little bit, but his talent is obviously there. So they need to nail this pick. They need to nail it. And we'll see what can come of it. You did mention, though, the quarterback that they do have, Mac Jones, his alma mater, right? Alabama, was quickly able to replace Nick Saban, taking Kalen DeBoer from Washington. He only spent 2 years there, but this is kind of the opportunity of a lifetime, right?
Absolutely. If you're Kalen, the only thing with him is he hasn't stayed anywhere for really more than a couple years. He had 2 years in Washington, I think 2 years at Fresno State before that, and then he had 5 years or so in Sioux Falls, which is his alma mater. Now, again, he's been a great coach everywhere he's gone. I mean, he's got 104 wins and 12 losses in his career, so he definitely knows what he's doing. Can build some good teams. The offense, especially in Washington this last year, was really good. The fact that he was able to bring Penix and keep him to come back again, and keep him healthy because he's had injuries in the past, and to keep him with an offensive line in front of him and all his weapons. Don't be shocked, I guess, if depending on where some of those guys fall, that maybe they end up in New England too. Some of those wide receivers and weapons. But
True.
yeah, Alabama,
Doomsday
man, to go there and have to fill in for Nick Saban is going to be hard as it is. I know they've already had a couple guys decommit because of the retirement, and then they've already had one guy transfer, which usually people don't transfer out of Alabama. That's very rare with Nick Saban being there because his whole thing is you're going to come here, and in 4 years of your playing here, you're probably going to compete for a national title, if not win one, because almost everybody did that played for him won at least one.
Except this class,
yeah. Or you're going to be ready for the NFL when time comes. But DeBoer doesn't have quite that track record, but I mean, Alabama is Alabama. I mean, they're legit. Right. They're in the SEC. This is a big step for DeBoer, who, I mean, if he would have stayed in Washington, they'd be going to the Big Ten. So I guess either way, you're moving into a bigger and better conference. It's more about football. And this
SEC is the cream of the crop.
Exactly. So this will be DeBoer's chance to see what he can do with some other guys in the SEC.
Career record of 104-12, so he just basically doesn't lose. That's almost a 90% win mark. But it should be exciting. One thing I heard on one of the shows that I was watching today is that he's not necessarily one of the best recruiters, but I feel like Alabama kind of recruits itself. Now, granted, a lot of that might be tied to Nick Saban being there, but I think that if he's able to prove that he can lead this team to do something big next year, I think that's going to be like the testing year for young men who are thinking about committing there or transferring there if they can. And as long as he can kind of prove that he can still compete in the SEC, I'm not necessarily at a Nick Saban level. Those are some big shoes to fill. But if he's able to compete, I think that the following year he'll be able to kind of get some of those people who might be thinking about decommitting or might be looking at other schools to kind of recommit to Alabama. It's a great place to. I mean, just legacy is there. They again play in the SEC. They got Texas and Oklahoma coming into it, so they're gonna be playing big time competition. And I don't know. I'm excited for him to kind of see, kind of what it does, what he does there.
You did mention Texas and them coming into the SEC. I guess DeBoer already knows how to beat them and what they did in the semifinals. So hoping a little bit there, right?
There you go. Yeah, true. Which is actually the only team that Alabama lost to besides Michigan in the Rose Bowl. The only team they lost to this past season was Texas. So there you go. Now they got the guy. They like, hey, that's the one we lost to. He beat him. We'll take him. Before we leave football, quick update: 32-9 final. Buccaneers basically kind of rout the Eagles. Baker Mayfield 22 of 36, 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 119.8 passer rating on a sprained ankle and some bruised ribs. But in my opinion, this defense, 9 points, which is a field goal and a touchdown that they missed the 2-point conversion on. Granted, there's kind of a penalty on Jalen Hurts on that 2-point. But regardless, I don't think it would have made a difference. The score was the score, and it looked bad, man. So Buccaneers moving to Detroit, not moving, but moving on to Detroit. Imagine moving to Detroit. But enough of football. Let's move on. There's been a lot. I mean, it's the heat of it, obviously.
Yeah.
And I love talking about it because once it's gone, I'm going to miss it. I know that for damn sure. But let's move on to some NBA stuff that we saw kind of going down. The first one that I really wanted to talk about was the Bulls, man, which is so weird for such a, I guess you would say, legacy franchise because of obviously Michael Jordan. They finally have a Ring of Honor, and they were able to kind of have 13 members in its first class. You want to kind of run down the list of them? Maybe for some of them, you might have to tell us like when they played and maybe what they did.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple of those I'm going to have to mention the years they were there or what their role was because some of these names I did not notice, but the first couple I definitely did. Artis Gilmore is the one who played for them from 1976 to 82 and then also in 1987. Obviously, Phil Jackson, who started out as an assistant coach in 87 through 89 and then took over and, became the winningest coach in all of basketball history with 6 titles there alone.
Although this next guy you're talking about, I haven't really heard of him. Who's this guy?
Yeah, I think his initials are MJ, Michael Jordan. Have you heard of that guy before?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, he was there 84 to 93, took a couple of years off to play some baseball, and then 95 through 98 when they won 6 titles in a row in those 8 years. Johnny Red Kerr, which again, no relation to Steve Kerr, just happens to have the same last name. He was a head coach for a couple of years and then a broadcaster from 75 to 2008. Dick Klein,
so mostly broadcast. Okay.
Yeah. Dick Klein, who I guess owned and founded the team back in the 60s, 1966 to 72, and was basically the reason the team even got into expansion and existed in the first place. So obviously you have to include him in there. Tony Kukoc, again, part of the dynasty there in those years. Bob Love, who played from 1968 to 76. And then, of course, Scottie Pippen, 1987 to 88. And actually, I didn't realize he came back and played 1 year with them in 2003, 2004. I don't remember that.
One of those, like, we'll sign you so you can retire a Bull kind of thing, maybe?
Yeah, I remember him leaving, going to Portland, and then going to Houston, and that's about it. I did not know there was another one after that. So, and then, of course, Dennis Rodman, who was only there for, 4 seasons, but 95 to 98. But, a huge part of the reason they won those back titles in the second half. And then Jerry Sloan, who played for them for a year, was an assistant coach for a year, and then actually a head coach for 3 years in 79 to 82. And then obviously we know went on to coach the Utah Jazz and ended up being a really good coach and a Hall of Famer when it was all said and done. Chet Walker, who played for them from 1969 to 75. And then, of course, Tex Winter, who was an assistant from 85 to 99 with Phil Jackson there. And he's known as the father of the triangle offense or the innovator to, get it to be as clean as it was and as well-oiled machine in a sense. And the last one,
which the Lakers used too.
Heck yeah, Tex Winter, man. That guy was awesome. And then the last one, which is the real reason we're talking about this story, is Jerry Krause,
Yeah.
who was the GM from 85 to 2003. They brought all these players out, or if they were not here, like Jerry Krause, they brought his widow, Thelma, out onto the court, and they played a video on the screen of each person, gave them an introduction. We all know, if you watched any of the Last Dance documentary during the COVID year, that Jerry Krause was not really liked by a lot of fans because he kind of tore it all down after the titles were won, and everybody kind of booed him when he was around. Unfortunately, they decided to boo during his inauguration into this Ring of Honor, which, I get, but also, like, his wife is there, man. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, she's old, bro. Like, well, we do have a clip before we get into it. We have a clip, and we also have the announcers basically sharing what I feel as well afterwards, kind of talking about how they don't understand it. Let's roll it.
6-time NBA champion, 2-time NBA Executive of the Year, represented by his wife Thelma, Basketball Hall of Famer and former Bulls general manager Jerry Krause.
I'm a little upset right now.
Yep.
Nationwide is on your side, Bulls Nation. We just had a remarkable ceremony bringing back the legends, and I'm telling you what, Chicago is a sports town. And what we witnessed today when Jerry Krause's name was called, and the people that booed Jerry Krause and his widow, who was accepting this honor for him, it was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. I hurt for that lady, brought her to tears, and whoever booed her in this arena should be ashamed of themselves. That's not Chicago. That's New York, Philly. Chicago's not like that. We don't have a reputation of being that way. And whether you like Jerry Krause or not, that man brought 6 championships here. He didn't shoot a basket, nor did he get a rebound, but he put 6 titles up in this ring. There's a lot of teams don't even have one. And that was really classless. And I was disappointed in the people that booed. It was a sad thing.
I mean, all I could do is say shaking my head, bro. These fools are ungrateful, dude. Like, okay, think about this, right? It's not like this guy was the bum who came in and actually ruined it. He's also the same guy who freaking built it.
Yep.
He's the guy that delivered. I mean, obviously the players play and the coaches coach. That's not what I mean. But he's the one who got all these players, who delivered the 6 championships. Bulls fans are extremely ungrateful. What have they done since Jerry Krause was GM? Oh, that's right. Absolutely nothing. I get they had Derrick Rose and Jimmy Butler with Tom Thibodeau, but they didn't go very far. They were never in the finals. Maybe they made it to an Eastern Conference Finals if I'm remembering correctly, but I think they were a first or second round exit almost all the time. So what is it that you're mad at this guy for? Did he break it up a little bit too early? Maybe, but maybe not. How do we know what would have happened? They had to pay so many people on that team because it was a litany of Hall of Famers.
Yep.
I don't know. It was a bad ceremony all around from what I had heard. Dennis wasn't there. Scotty wasn't there. Michael wasn't there. It was just like I don't know. And then they booed Jerry Krause's widow, Thelma. It's just, I don't know, lame ass Chicago fans, to be honest with you. What
Absolutely.
do you think?
And the fact that, like, she's sitting on the court, they show the video or whatever of his face on the screen, and then they cut to a shot of her and they continue to boo, and she's sitting there and she's distraught. You can tell she's crying. I don't know who of the players is standing behind her, but he puts his arms on her shoulder like, it's okay, don't worry. But you can tell it's just completely tearing her apart. And I'm with you, man. Like, why put her through that? And the biggest thing I think too, if you're the Bulls organization, the fans don't like him. Like, it's not like it's a secret that they booed him when he was still there running the team in the early 2000s. So why even put her out there and have to actually take that opportunity to even be booed? Like, maybe just keep her up in the suite and she doesn't have to be on the floor, and keep her in the building, but you don't have to show her on the screen and make it a big old spectacle, because now you guys look like even worse than let the fans have that opportunity. I mean, the Lakers did something similar when they brought, I think this was when Mitch Kupchak was still running the team as a GM, but they had like some celebration where they brought out old former players. Well, Kupchak also played for them. And, it was the same thing. The Laker fans were going to boo him. So what they did, which was very smart, they brought Kareem out first. They mentioned Mitch really quickly. And before the fans could even have a chance to even get booing, they just brought out Magic Johnson, which then got everybody excited. So
of course,
you got to plan around these things. You can't be completely just like oblivious to the fact that Krause was not loved when he left that organization at the end. And again, people who didn't know maybe at that time, because you and I were pretty young when all that stuff went on, watching that documentary, The Last Dance, they basically made him out to be the villain or the bully throughout it. So it's all fresh in everybody's mind. And to put her in that situation, I think was also a bad call.
Yeah, the whole thing was kind of just off. Like I said, couldn't get half the people to show up. Booed the widow of this guy. I don't know. Again, to me, it's just ungrateful Chicago fans. You won 6 titles. You have the 4th most titles of all the franchises in NBA history, behind only obviously the historic Lakers and Celtics, and then the 7 that the Warriors had, and those are obviously recent. With the the Curry Durant dynasty, I guess you could say. Well, mostly Curry.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was just really tacky, if you ask me, and not a good look for Chicago fans. Again, you guys haven't done shit since, so boo him all you want. Granted, he may have broken, but Jordan was on his way out. He had retired 4 or 5 times. Obviously, I'm exaggerating. It was only twice, but it seemed like it. Pippen, him and Pippen were arguing over crap. Dennis Rodman was wearing some dresses and playing in Vegas. I mean, dude, the whole thing was just like it's not like it was this super well-oiled machine. Kerr was getting older. He was moving on to other things and going to San Antonio. So I'm just kind of, I don't know. I think it's kind of stupid that they did it, but it is what it is. Yep. Hopefully anybody that they move forward, maybe if a Derrick Rose is able to get in there or something like that, they do the ceremony a little bit better. Now, granted, not very many people are going to boo Derrick Rose, but again, hopefully it's a little bit better moving forward, but kind of good to see.
Yeah,
kind of good to see for the people who made it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, hopefully the next time they do put another class into the Ring of Honor, it's a little better. One Ring of Honor or jersey ceremony that went really well this weekend, though, was Dwyane Wade getting his number 3 retired in Miami.
Yeah. Well, it's Wade County. It better go well.
Heck yeah. He becomes one of 6 numbers they have up in the rafters, which obviously Bosch is up there. Tim Hardaway, which Michael Jordan, but that's because of Pat Riley and just his affinity with Jordan and thinking 23 should be retired throughout the league. Shaq's number to 32 is up there, Alonzo Mourning, and then actually I think later this week on Friday or Saturday they're going to put number 40 for Udonis Haslem up there, which he played 20 years for the team, was on every team that went to the finals and won a title there. So, and again, he's from Miami, so him and Wade going up there in the same year kind of makes sense.
Did he play 20 years for the team, or was he on the team for 20 years?
All right,
you know what I'm saying? Dude was playing like 4 minutes a game, in garbage time towards the end of his career. Again, I mean, props to Haslam, on an awesome career. He's obviously played more in the NBA than I ever have or ever will. So good for him. But yeah, that one's more of like you stayed here a really long time. Thanks for being there. But there was also some other news that kind of came out. Pat Riley took a while he kind of dragged it out when he was talking about it, but they announced that a statue is coming for Dwyane Wade, the first statue that will be outside of the arena. Let's show the clip where they kind of talk about it and kind of go over, what it will look like maybe. I mean, we don't know what it will look like, but I'm saying where Pat Riley kind of talks about it. Let's check it out.
And I think I have a beautiful moment for you right now. If we can welcome to the floor, everybody, the president of your Miami Heat, Pat Riley, with a very special note for Dwyane Wade.
Jax, what is this?
That look like Bam. That look like Bam, Coach.
It's like
a glorious bobblehead.
Is that Bam?
That look like Bam.
That's a bobblehead. We got a bobblehead right here, but what else are we going to hang from the rafters? We hung a couple of championship banners and, Atlantic Coast Conference banners, and then we hung a gold medal banner. Then we retired your old butt. We hung it from the rafters. And the Hall of Fame we put up there today. So what else are we going to hang from the banner? Or from the rafters? I think we're going to put a bobblehead like out there. Next year will be a statue 8 feet tall. 8 feet tall. We wanted to make sure it was bigger than Shaquille O'Neal. It'll be the first statue ever that they'll be here on Biscayne Boulevard, Dwayne, and it is forever for the greatest player in the history of this game, man. I love you. Next year, everybody right here will be a statue. And I want to thank the Harrison family. They're the ones that came up with the idea. So it's going to be great. Good luck to you, my man. And here, you get to get the Biblehead for a while, okay? Just play with it. You take care.
Pat, thank you very much. What does it mean to you that when people go on the Google Earth and pull up 601 Biscayne Boulevard, a monument erected forever in your honor will be there?
I'm not really a person who get lost for words. I got too many words, actually. I didn't dream of this, though. And so, man, I'm just so grateful. I'm very grateful. Thank the Harrison family. Thank the Riley family. Thank the city and the state of Florida and Miami just for all the love. And I can't wait for families to be able to experience what that's going to be like from all around the world, to come and have a moment of the culture that will be out front. So I can't wait to that day, man. So I'm excited.
Can't wait to have you back for another gathering with all your family and friends. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2023 Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Famer, the greatest player in the history of the Heat, Dwyane Wade.
Wade County, I love you.
Yeah, that ceremony went a lot better than the previous one that we showed. That's for sure. This one is nice, man. I mean, it's Wade County, dude. He basically owns the team without actually owning the team. So he could do no wrong in Miami. And I mean, not because he's just that great. He was a great player and stayed his whole career. I mean, mostly his whole career. Obviously, he went to Cleveland for I don't
Chicago
know. I think
for
four games. Oh yeah, Chicago too. Well, that's where he's from. So I guess that one kind of helped. That one made sense a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna be cool. What do you think the statue's gonna look like?
Well,
what's the pose? What's Dwyane Wade's pose?
There's two ideas that well, first of all, the fact that Pat said it's going to be 8 feet tall, so he's bigger than Shaq.
It's so true, dude. Right.
But the two ones come to mind are, and I don't know if they'll do this one, but the one where him and LeBron have that alley-oop where he's just holding his arms out would be one. But I think since it's about him and not him and LeBron, I think it's the one where he's standing on the scoreboard after hitting the game winner in the playoff game.
Ooh,
and I think that was even before the Heatles kind of became a thing. I think that was a year or two before. So that's the first one that comes to mind.
Okay, that would be pretty cool because he doesn't really have a signature move besides driving the rack. He was really good at, but there's no it's not like Air Jordan with the thing,
or Kobe with
Shaq
or something.
Yeah, or Dirk even with the fadeaway, right, with his knee up and something like that. There's no like signature. He was just a great scorer. He could do mostly everything. So it'd be kind of interesting to see what the statue will look like. I'm kind of excited. Again, I'm a Dwyane Wade fan. It's kind of cool. He seems like a cool dude. And
one more idea I have is when they did win the first title with Shaq, he was the one who had the ball last and he threw it up into the air. So maybe it's like a frozen moment of him throwing the ball up into the air kind of thing. But I think the one on the table just makes the most sense because he's basically saying this is my hometown. This is, Wade County, as you said. So I think that would make the most sense.
Yeah, for those who don't know, it's Dade County, but obviously it rhymes with his last name. Just wanted to kind of make that clear. It's not actually called Wade County. That would be pretty crazy if it was Wade County and he actually just got drafted. Oh, wow, that's my last name. That's awesome. It's Dade County, just so we're on the same page. But yeah, it'd be cool. Good for him. Things that weren't so good. Moving on to actual games that were happening. Now we're kind of getting into actual basketball, not retired basketball. Did you see this clip of Mike Brown after the Bucks game? Well, in the Bucks game and then after the Bucks game, he kind of discusses a handful of things. Did you see it?
Oh, man, I absolutely loved this. I think the fact that he got so upset and mad when he got thrown out of the game, it was like, I didn't quite understand in the moment when you see the replay, you just see him in half court and like screaming at the ref and they throw up. I'm like, dude, what is like, nobody fell, nobody got hurt. Like what's happening?
Right.
And then to see his post-game press conference and explain why he was so upset and what was going on made a little bit more sense.
Yeah. Well, we have video of both. So let's roll that now.
You're allowing this home team to get some momentum on their home floor.
And Beasley with the interception. Mike Brown is incensed. Mike Brown giving the rookie official some words, and Mike Brown has just been ejected. Mike Brown sticking up for his guys has been ejected.
We got to see what this is about.
Gente Huang in his first full season as an NBA official felt the wrath of Mike Brown.
And I just want to, Dip, let me see that, man. I just want to show you guys why I got kicked out of the game. Right here, this is in the this is in the third quarter with 1:28 left to go in the third. And right here, you can watch. Go back and watch. Fox barely puts his hand on Dame's hip. Okay, incidental contact. He didn't push him or anything. He barely puts his hand on there, and they give him 3 free throws. Now, at half, we were down, I think, 19-5 in the free throws. 19-5. And I know that happens sometimes, but that's very frustrating when at the end of the half, from what I get told all the time, Malik drives, Lopez comes over and goes vertical with a forearm down here. Now, from what the NBA tells me the rule is, if you go vertical, you got to have 2 hands up. Because Domas has his hand down here a lot, and they call him for it every time, and they always tell us, well, you got a forearm here. And they said that tonight, they said the forearm could be here as long as it's not extended. So I don't know what the rules are in this situation. I need a clarification because, again, 2 hands up is what the rule is on verticality, but they were here and they said Lopez could do this. That's a 5-point swing. They take away the 2 free throws, and then Milwaukee goes down and hits a 3. And to end the half at 19-5, that's tough to deal with, especially when you're getting told different interpretations on a rule, okay? So now I go back, they call this foul again on Fox. Now, again, he didn't push him. They said it's supposed to be incidental contact. They give him 3 free throws. Now, watch this, right here. Fox comes off a pick and roll. The kid, Campaign hooks his arm. Look at Fox's arm when he spins off of this. Hooks his arm. He almost falls. No incidental contact. He hooks his arm and almost falls, and there's no foul. And so to me, as a coach, I'm okay with. Look again. Boom. He almost falls, and that's at the fourth quarter at the 9:32 mark. I'm okay as a coach because the referees are human and they're going to make mistakes. But you just hope, A, there's some sort of consistency, B, there's some sort of communication between the refs. And the refs tonight, they were great. They communicated with me all night. But in terms of the consistency, you guys saw it right here. Dame coming off the pick and roll and Foxy getting hooked and almost falling coming off the pick and roll. And then on top of that, if you get communication and you get some form of consistency in the game, okay, then you can live with some things. You can live with it. But the consistency that I see tonight wasn't in my opinion there. And then I don't understand the rule. If the rule is you got to go vertical and both hands up, how can you take away 2 free throws when the guy got his forearm down here? Now, if they're going to change the rule on me and say, okay, the forearm can be down here and the other one can be up there, all right, then now I know it going forward. But that's not what the rule is, because we get it called on Domas all the time, and they tell us he's got to have both hands up if you want to go vertical. That's why I got kicked out.
I mean, he has a freaking point, though, dude. The funniest part, obviously, he brings the fucking laptop out to show the plays that he's actually mad about. But to be honest with you, I think this is a way better ref trash talking than what the Raptors coach did the other day. Now, granted, I'm a Laker fan, so, I might be a little biased, but he was just screaming randomly at just the number of calls. He didn't really talk about the quality, which specific calls. He didn't also talk about how he intentionally fouled for at least 10 to 12 of those free throws that he was mad about. But Mike Brown did it in a very nice way. He was calm about it. He actually had examples. He talks about how the ref explains things and stuff like that. I mean, to be honest with you, I can't see him. He's not wrong, right?
No, not at all. And I'm with you. The fact that he was able to say, like, they did communicate with me well. My only issue is the consistency and what the rule is actually supposed to be. Like, is it one arm on and up or both up for verticality? Whatever it is, make sure it's consistent. And he said, I can deal with them telling me one thing or the other, but whatever it is, it needs to be consistent throughout the league and throughout the entire game with all 3 refs on the court. So
Yeah.
I'm with you though. The funniest part is he asked the video guy, like, "Hey, let me see that laptop real quick," and he's like, "Watch this play. Okay, cool. This is what they call. I don't know why." And then check this out, and they call nothing. And De'Aaron Fox is basically falling down. Like, where is the consistency in the call? And like you said, very calm, very collected. Obviously, he got thrown out in the fourth quarter, and they went to overtime, so he had some time to really cool off.
Yeah, true.
It wasn't right after the game ended, and he just got thrown out at the last minute. So I think that did play a part of it compared to the Toronto coach, where it was right after the game. But you did mention Toronto; they did foul a lot at the last couple minutes or minute just to try to get the game to go longer. But yeah, I always like Mike Brown. I felt bad of the way it ended in LA as a Laker coach because obviously Kobe stared him down after that 11 games. I think the second season in, and took care of him from there. But he's done a lot of good things in Sacramento and learned a lot from Steve Kerr being on the coach bench, I should say, in Golden State for a couple years there. So I'm always rooting for Mike Brown, just not necessarily the Kings if we're playing them. But yeah, I'm with everything he said. He had a good thought process behind what he was saying and why he was doing it.
Agreed. That game that you mentioned, though, did go to overtime, and it was finally Dame time in Milwaukee. Dude he does this pretty much everywhere he freaking goes, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's and the fact that he does it so nonchalantly, just like, I hit the game winner, cool. He doesn't. Most people like jump up and celebrate. He just hits the Dame time thing, and he's like, no smile, no real like animation in his face. It's just like, yeah, I'm here to play ball. I did my job, and we won the game.
Yeah, Giannis was stoked more than anybody. I think dude was jumping up and down, ready to go freaking put a Dame on his shoulders and carry him around the arena. We have a clip of the shot because it's nasty, but this is kind of what you're used to when Dame's got the ball at the end of the game. Let's run it.
5.2 left. No timeouts left for the Bucks. Here comes Dame. 3 seconds. Dame pulls for the win. Dame time is alive and well in Milwaukee.
Dame time.
Replay confirms successful three-point basket.
I just got a chill. I just got a serious chill watching that clutch Dame time deep three at the buzzer in overtime. How fitting. Give it up, get it back.
Calls his own number and calls game. 2,500 career threes for Dame on that shot to win it tonight.
I don't know. Dame time, dude. This is what it is. It wasn't like it's his typical all just past half court, right between the logo and 3-point and fading to his left. I mean, I don't know, dude. Dude's insane. I mean, the best one he's ever had is over Paul George, but this was nice too, no?
Oh yeah, you're right. The best one is Paul George, and after this one went viral the other night, people started making clips of all his game-winning clutch shots, and I didn't realize there's like 3.5-4 minutes of those. There's a lot of them that he's had.
Dang.
But I'm with you. It's just yeah, that's what I do. I make game-winning buckets. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is basically why they brought him here. I mean, I know that their defense has completely fallen off a cliff, but it's moments like this where Giannis isn't hitting that shot, not at all, not even close. You know what I mean? Maybe Chris Middleton, but he's no Dame time. So props to Lillard. Great shot, dude. Great shot.
Yeah, and looking at the rest of the NBA, now that we're getting near the trade deadline, one of the teams I think that's got to be huge selling at this point is the Grizzlies. After they've already lost Ja for the year, and now Desmond Bane's out 6 weeks with his sprained left ankle. Marcus Smart, I think, is out for another 4 to 6 weeks with an injury as well. The Grizzlies have just completely fallen apart, and I think at this point it's time to just trade whatever pieces you have that you can get something for and start thinking about next year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you're not trading Morant. In my opinion, you shouldn't be thinking about trading Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane. You just give a fat contract to, and just because he got hurt, I mean, he's one of the best players that you guys have. In my opinion, I think he's better than Ja.
more complete.
Not like,
better way to say
yeah, there you go. As a more complete player, that's a better way to put it. He may not have like the flair. He may not have some of the the attitude and stuff like that Ja brings to the table. But dude can ball, and he can play some defense too. Ja's a little skinny guy who kind of doesn't necessarily lock people up. So I think they do become sellers. The only thing is I don't really know what pieces they want to sell, man, because like I said, I think they have a pretty decent team. It just was the suspension and injuries, and now this injury. Ja had surgery the other day. It's just, I think it's just kind of maybe a bad. But to your point, there's always room to improve. They just got Marcus Smart. I doubt they're going to flip him for anything, although there would probably be a lot of buyers out there if they put him on the market. But yeah, I mean, I would. Or just get as many young players as you can out on that court, so that way you can see what they could do in preparation for next season.
Yeah, I think
this one's chopped up, bro. Get ready for next year.
I think for sure one piece they got to look into trading is Luke Kennard. He's just a really good 3-point shooter. So anybody that needs a sniper, as they like to say, from 3-point line, I think has got to be calling the Grizzlies to see if they can get Kennard out of there.
Okay, yeah, Luke Kennard, I can see them doing that too. He's not necessarily, he's a valuable asset that I think you can get another piece for. I don't know what piece, because they have some decent bigs when they're healthy. Again, Brandon Clark couldn't really keep going. Steven Adams got hurt by the beginning of the season. Jaren Jackson likes to foul out every game. Maybe another big or something like that to kind of shore up them, because there's a lot of injuries or foul outs for them. But Jaren Jackson looked awesome for Team USA this past summer, so definitely don't get rid of him. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
Absolutely. And, we talked about what they should do at the trade deadline or what they should unveil. There was a random trade that happened the other day. I know to me, it's even weirder that it's between the Pistons and the Wizards, who are both at the bottom of the league. Like, what are we even doing here? So you look at the trade, the Pistons get Dan Gallinari and Mike Muscala.
Danilo, yeah.
And then the Wizards get Marvin Bagley III, Isaiah Livers, and then future draft considerations, which Bagley was a number 2 overall pick, I think we talked about yesterday for Sacramento back in the day. And I don't know, both these teams are
10 points, bro.
Yeah. Well, Mike Muscala was been traded I don't know how many times at this point in his career. He's kind of played for everybody almost. It's a very random trade, but it doesn't really seem to benefit. I guess there's got to be like an expiring contract if you're the Pistons, maybe to give you some more cap space.
That's what it is. Yeah, both of those, Danilo and Mike Muscala, are expiring contracts.
All right, now it makes a little more sense. It's just weird that it's the two worst teams doing a trade together a month before the deadline's even here.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that. I mean, these might be sellers, but not to each other. They, you know what I mean? They should be selling some talent to teams who are trying to make playoff pushes and stuff like that. So, yeah, super random. It's mostly for salary cap and a couple of draft considerations. Obviously, what the Wizards get. So that's what they basically get for giving players who are going to be leaving. Random, but we wanted to throw it up there because technically it happened. So we want to make sure that we cover everything, even for those Pistons and Wizards fans that are out there, although there are probably very few. So
I gotta imagine
all the Pistons kind of have like a good,
probably worried about
like a good franchise. Just not recently. The highest paid player is not a player at all; is their coach, who's doing absolutely nothing. So it's just kind of interesting to see what the Pistons. But they got Cade, and they have Cade. Oh, they also have Cade, so that's good.
He's not even playing right now, I think, either.
True, I don't think so.
Really
that's good, bro. Sit him. This season is done anyway. So, although it was funny, before they played each other recently, I think there was all that talk about how what's his name, Kuzma. He's like, you'd hate to be on that team while the Pistons were going through their losing streak, and they played the other day and they lost by like 11 to the Pistons. So. Kind of funny to see that two worst teams talking shit to each other. Who could be the worst? Yeah, that's kind of the fight for the bottom here, I guess. But yeah, interesting.
Kuzma had his good run in LA, man. Can't have a good run always. So enjoy your time here when you're in LA, and now you have to just enjoy your money, I guess, that you're getting in Washington.
Yeah, that's literally all you get. Ask Bradley Beal. That does kind of wrap this one up. Of course, it is Monday, so we're not completely done, but that kind of covers the main topics of it. We've got MILF Monday, my friend.
Monday.
Let's get it.
I cannot believe a fine woman like this produced a guy like Stifler. Ooh! I took some MILF. What the hell is that? MILF.
Man, I love facts.
Yeah!
Hey, guys.
MILF Monday. Nice, bro. All right. So, on this Monday, what fact you got for me today, man?
So, with the NFL playoffs kind of, getting into full swing and obviously getting down to the last 8 teams next weekend, I thought that this fact I saw yesterday was kind of funny and wanted to share it. Plus, it kind of takes another dig at the Cowboys, which is always fun. So since 2002, when the Texans came into the league, they now, with Saturday's win, I should say, have 5 playoff wins in their whole franchise's existence. Since 2002, the Cowboys as a team only have 4 playoff wins. So kind of not good if you're the Cowboys if the Texans have more wins than you in their existence time than you do in that same time period. I think that's hilarious. And
in
then,
the same state.
Yeah, and then as you and I were talking about that before we got on, you kind of put me onto another little fact that is a part of this as well, that Nick Foles, who obviously played for the Eagles and helped them win that Super Bowl a couple years ago, is longer than I think at this point.
Yeah, true.
He has as many playoff wins as Dak and Tony Romo do combined, which is 4. So those 4 wins the Cowboys have in that time frame, Dak and Romo have them combined 4. Nick Foles has 4 in his entire career. Which I just how if you're the Cowboys, do you let those 2 things happen? That is just ridiculous.
Yeah, your arch rival's backup has as many wins, and then your state rival, not really rival, but the other in-state team has more. I don't know. America's team, dude. I mean, don't next year, bro. Next year's the year, dude. Okay, it's gonna be next year. Don't just watch.
I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah, every year since 1995. This was the last time they won a dang Super Bowl. So, again, I'm not big hater of the Cowboy. I'm somewhat neutral. I do think their fans are delusional. One of them being my stepdad. I don't think he's delusional like in life, but with the Cowboys and stuff like that, it's just I don't know. It's just not it. So, but it's a good fact. I like it. It's kind of fun to poke fun at them. So, good fact. Good fact.
Always fun.
we have MILF Monday every Monday. Well, mostly every Monday. We got a bunch of other historical stuff that we have on some of our Thursday episodes. If you want to check them out, we got a bunch in our previous ones. Where could they find those, man?
Yeah, you can always find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube if you want to see us and the video clips and stuff instead of just hearing them on the Spotify or Apple Podcast version, and just search Our View from the Bench on all three platforms.
Also, don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at RViewFTB. How's the rest of your week looking, man? It's Monday, so we got obviously another episode that we're gonna do on Thursday. But besides that, what you got going?
Honestly, I got a whole lot of nothing going on this week. It's kind of nice. There's
still Ducks are gone, right?
Yeah, they're still on the road. I think they beat Tampa Bay today in overtime 5-4 in Florida, which is nice. Didn't expect that. So another chill week between now and Thursday when we record. I think I'm at Great Park again on Thursday, so hopefully I'll be able to work on our podcast stuff in the next couple of days and be ready for Thursday's episode. But other than that, not a whole lot between now and Thursday, and then I'll deal with the weekend of Ducks coming back on Sunday. But in the meantime, chilling for the rest of the week and looking forward to Thursday. What about you?
Mine is pretty much the same, just normal work. I don't think I have anything really planned this week besides that kind of stuff. Actually, no, I take that back. I've been sick, like I've talked about previously, since basically the end of December, and I'm finally starting to feel like a little bit better. So my goal is to get back into the gym this week. Obviously, I don't want to go there sick. 1, I don't feel well, and 2, I don't want to spread it. That's just rude.
Yeah.
Finally going to try to get back into the gym. I think tomorrow is going to be my first day back in like 3 weeks. So gonna take it light, but I gotta start somewhere. So I think that's pretty much my main goal is to do that this week. So excited for it. Excited also to talk about what we're going to talk about on Thursday, which is the next round of the playoffs. As much as I'd like to, I wish we were talking about the Lakers and how well they were doing, but that's not really going well today.
Yeah.
How's the game look tonight? Did we blow it again?
Well, it was 50-50 at halftime, so I haven't checked the score since then, but at least they were hanging in. I know LeBron was playing tonight, so
we're up 91-82, 9 minutes left in the game.
Okay, not bad. And the other thing, too, I did notice that at halftime, only Shea Gilgeous-Alexander was the only player on Oklahoma City in double figures. So hopefully that means the Lakers are playing some defense and actually showing up. It's weird. They tend to do that against the opponents that are good, like the Clippers. They beat Oklahoma City before. They played well against Minnesota, even though they lost that game in Minnesota a couple weeks ago.
His foot was not on the line.
Yeah, they play up and down to their opponents, which it seems to be a thing that they do right now. But, if they can win tonight and get one game closer to being to 500 again, hopefully they can get some kind of momentum going because they got a lot of home games the next couple of weeks, but then they got to go back on the road for that Grammy trip, and that's always a good, 6-game road trip at least.
Yeah, I was going to say 6 to 9 games sometimes, yeah. Oh, 93-82 now. You're right, though. Shea's in double figures with 20. The only other person, I guess Jalen Williams has decided to start helping me out. He's at 19. So Lakers are looking good. 23 points from Davis, 21 from LeBron, 12 from D'Angelo, 13 from Austin, Christian Woods at 11. Doing okay.
Not bad. Okay, maybe they finally
see if we
figured
can hold
something
off. Yeah, got to hold them off though, bro. This is a good team. It's not over. There's still 9 whole minutes left, so
Oh, yeah.
we'll see how that could go.
We
But
know how leads in the NBA can disappear quickly, even when they're 20 or more.
exactly, very true. Oof, ouch. Yeah, very true. But yeah, other than that, man, I appreciate everybody stopping by and joining us, seeing things from our view from the bench. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Corey, and like we always say, enjoy the sports until we talk again.
Peace.
This was a Sycamore 4th Studios production.